Hello there, it's me, Sari here again, and today I thought I'd show you a couple of tips on what to think about when you are masking several motifs into one sort of a collage look. In this case I'm using the fabulous bird stamps from Tim Holtz and Stampers Anonymous. This set is called Bird Crazy CMS 212 and these are absolutely to die for. And I have gotten them from Scrapbrookit and you can actually find them there now. So please take a chance on getting your hands on them. I'm not sure. Just getting the stamps, I mean. I'll be also using a text stamp, and this one is from Prima. It's a set of small clear stamps and I'm using the word amazing just to have something to work with. And in order to succeed with this, I have stamped these masks, so to speak, with the leftover ink after having stamped the image once, and then I have cut it out. And in order to be able to reuse these several times, I have gotten myself a spray can of Remount. It's a removable glue spray, so I might actually start off with spraying these, because the glue is like the post-it glue, and so it's really nice to have it repositionable. You need to shake it up a little bit and have a little bit of a distance when you're spraying, and just let it dry for a couple of seconds like so. But before I get there, I'm sure it'll be working. So let's see. What I did was I just drew a line with, I think it was scattered straw or something. I just put a little bit of ink on an acrylic block and just draw a line there with my water brush, just so I could have some sort of a surface for them to stand on, so I know where to place the stamps. And in this case I actually did stamp the word amazing first, because I wanted it to go in front of the bird without having to glue it to the paper, because everything is just one layered here. So that's the big idea of making things with masks and everything, because you can create some new scenes. And when it came to me choosing this bird, I just like it because it has the beak, and I don't want to miss that one out if I were to mask something else here. So I'm always trying to place that one there. And in order to have some sort of an idea of how far up I need to put that bird, I'm just placing it there for now before. So I'm just going to have a look, see what could it be like here. And I'm not sure that I need that line there in the word amazing. I mean, that one isn't, but if I am going to move this one inwards, I'm going to lose more of the bird. So no matter how I do, I might be lost. So you just have to look at your stamps and see where you can end up with them. So I'm just thinking that I'm going to place it like so. And let's see, I'm just going to use VersaFine if I would like to color these birds in with some distress either markers or distress ink, or perhaps even Prima's watercolor pens. And I'm keeping the stamp on the block because I'm going to do some repeated stamping with the word to create a background, a vivid background that is. So now that I have stamped that one, I actually am going to take the word, the mask for that word that is, and it sticks really nicely thanks to that Remount spray there. So now all I have to do is decide on where to place the bird, and I'm just going to take some more ink. And usually when I do ink up my stamps, I have the ink pad in my hand instead of having this one and dabbing with it, because then I don't know or can't see really how much ink I have got. Then I would have to lift it up and just have to do more steps before I can get there. So now I'm going to place the bird alongside of that sort of slope or hill or whatever I could call it. So let's see, if I'm going to place it there, I mean the line isn't that harsh, so I might actually be able to cover it up even afterwards if things were that bad. So now I'm actually doing my best. Well, you know, I actually made a boo-boo here. I ought to have stamped this one before, because I had the tail in front of this bird. So that is a tip, and if you look closely you can see that the legs aren't really visible, so you need to use a pen or something to get that one going. So now I have to think about something else, because if I am going to, well, you see, what's done is done. So I'm going to put that mask there and see how I can make this one work. Perhaps I ought to go for another mask altogether, or another bird altogether. Because if I'm going to take this one now on top of this one will be behind the main image. And of course, perhaps I could do that, but perhaps I could even get in a third image. Hang on for a second or two. It's nice to hold on to these masks because you can reuse them time after time. So now, since I haven't got the legs there, perhaps I ought to think about using this one there. I could of course put it a little bit further out, now couldn't I? So I need to think about where the legs will end up. This one doesn't have that long legs, because it's sort of nice to get those tail feathers there as well. A little bit of them anyway. So let's see if I can make it work. See, I'm not really happy about that, but I'll just go there. So now you're going to see the difference in how the placement is going to be. And since I haven't got a mask over the legs there, I'm just thinking about a little bit that I won't have that tail crossing those legs. And since it is a little bit sloping here, I'm just going to place it like that. And just make sure that you're not going to wiggle your acrylic block. Just press it from the top. And what I see now already is that I mean, even though I'm using a printer paper, I mean, it's a really thin paper, it still is going to give me a little bit of, it's not going to go all the way down to the mask. So that is really important. If you have the possibility of getting even thinner paper, go for it. And you can see that the tail isn't doing a proper job there either, but this is actually how it works, and you have to pay attention to how you do things and where you do them. So let's see. I'm just going to put the mask on top of this one. And perhaps I ought to have another bird in the background, because this is a nice bird to have in the background. I mean, but then I'm going to miss out on the text. But I'll be talking to you a little bit about that anyway. So depending on the length of the legs of this bird, well, they aren't that tall. I think I'll just settle for this. You see, my mind is giving me a hard time here. So what I want to point out now is that since I am going to do some repeated stamping with the amazing word, one thing to have in mind, because this is something that disturbs me a little bit, the strength of the ink is really strong here, and I don't mind these places, but here I mind it because the eye is sort of getting lost in that stamping. So it would have been better to have it a little bit more faint around the eye. So that is something you could think about. I lucked out here, you see. So the eye actually pops out better than it does on this side. So that is something that I'm going to pay attention to now that I'm going to continue stamping. So I do have a sort of a guide I could go by in places where it actually works. So if I'm going to put the text amazing there, I could actually do that. And I'm all about creating let's see, I'm not going to put it too close to the eye now, am I? So I'm just going to put it there, I think. I want things to happen. So now I have a fainter imprint here. I could go to this side, and I'm trying to make it, and now I'm going to put this behind the eye. So now I'm actually happy about that, and I could try to see how far the colour stretches. It doesn't stretch that far. So now I have to continue. Just going to ink up this stamp again, and I'm going to look out for a nice place to place that saying. So that one is rather faint there. I could go for something a little bit stronger here, and since I don't have a mask for this one, I'm going to pay attention to where I'm going to let this one cross the other. And since the mask is here, I could actually let the intersection or the cross be there. So I'm just going to put it there. And if I'm going to do the second imprint or the second generation imprint, I could actually try doing that. Why not? Let's just use the... Let's try something new, amazing there. And I do believe that I have something else I could use there. And of course, if you would like to, you could make more masks for that amazing word if you would like to, unless you are interested in or want to try this technique out, trying to make it work. But of course, you can move it. This is something that I do from time to time. I tend to just move it, so I'm free to put it wherever I want to. But if I don't want to make too many of these, I could just be a little bit lazier and try to make it work anyway. So I'm thinking, I do like the G letters. I want that one to be visible. And you see, I lucked out even there. I mean, that one could have been crossing that one, because the letters wouldn't have disappeared behind that. But that's why I don't want them to mix or match too much. So I'm thinking that I might actually just put something there, and in this case I have two imprints to think about, and that one actually ended up really nicely in between there. And if I would like to go for something a little bit more pale, I absolutely would like to move this here, because I don't want to ruin this one. And then I have to think about where to place it, and I actually almost got it upside down. I'm not sure. Perhaps I should come from the outside and put it there, perhaps. So let's see. I mean, I think that I am lacking a little bit, so perhaps I ought to put that one back there. Just to see where I can end up. And as long as I have the mask on top of the birds, I don't have to think about anything else. So now it's going to be strong there. So where do I want to have the next strong bit? I have to think about this for a little bit. Perhaps I should just stamp it off once and get ready. In this case, I'm actually going to put it there. And perhaps I could put that really faint one behind the eye there. And in this case, if I am going to put it strong here, I mean, this actually works, having it in a strong way here. So I could take a little bit more ink. But the question is in which direction I should put it. Well, I think that I could put it like that. Get another G out of it. So I'm just thinking, is this enough? Should I go for something else? Well, I do actually have the possibility of just putting it across the bird's head. Should I go in another? Should I just put it straight then? So now we are here. Let's see. Here's that mask. Here is that one. So you see, this is so much better. The eye is so much more visible. So that's something that I learned, and I just wanted to share that with you. Perhaps this one isn't the best, but it's still there, isn't it? So this is it. It's nice to do some masking now that I know how I have to think about things. I wish I would have had a fancy tree perhaps, or a house or something. I would have loved to place these in front of them, but I haven't got those kinds of stamps. Perhaps I could use Tim Holtz's big tree, but then again, this one would have been so much bigger, and I just wanted to keep it in this size. So what I could do now is I could just color in between the layers here. I mean, since I have been stamping with VersaFine, it's not going to bleed when it gets in contact with water, and I could continue with the ground and everything, and I could just color those birds in as well. So this is it, masking with a couple of stamps to make a completely new scene. I hope you have a splendid time and are inspired by this. Bye bye.